Hi everyone, I'm Tanaaz from foreverconscious.com and this is your weekly energy forecast for the week of March 16th. So last week, let's talk about it. We had that blood moon eclipse in the sign of Virgo, calling us to shed, to release, to honor the cycles of death and rebirth. It brought waves of transformative energy and hopefully through that, perhaps some clarity, some peace, an end point, some kind of resolution, maybe a feeling of even, I can't continue like this. Something has to change. This cycle has to be broken. Maybe there was a powerful realization for you under that eclipse. Also falling in the sign of Virgo, connected to uh, health, our routine, our day-to-day life. You may have had some insights around that. Maybe there's some part of your routine or health health journey that has needed to be looked at or addressed. And this eclipse may have brought something up for you around that as well. So hopefully the eclipse wasn't too terrible. I always like to check in with my friends and what's going on. And some people have had a really rough time, others not so much. So I don't know where you fit in the spectrum of things, but hopefully you're able to now, on the other side of this eclipse, be feeling a little more settled, a little more at ease, and hopefully a little bit more in your power, trusting that these eclipse cycles are part of our karmic destiny in a way, part of our, and I don't say that to undermine or minimize, difficulties that come up or to just write off, oh, like this terrible thing happened, it must be your destiny. I don't want to be flippant like that. I'm not saying it like that. But, if we're looking at astrology, and the wisdom that has been passed down through the generations, when we have these eclipses like this, they do elevate our soul path. They push us to a place of soul growth. They help us take a leap to the next chapter of our soul's destiny. And our soul's destiny doesn't always make sense to us with our logical mind. It's deeper, it's unknown. And that's kind of part of the magic of life. So just kind of holding a little bit of space to recognize that we are evolving and growing and shifting, even if we are very, very uncomfortable with where we have landed. So now that we are on the other side of that eclipse, we're moving through the eclipse portal still to another eclipse that happens on the 29th. This is a solar eclipse. It's a lot more gentle. This eclipse, I'll talk more as we get closer to it, but it really is a graduation point. It's an eclipse that is helping us to kind of, it's not so much about endings as it is sort of reaching a point of peace and closure, kind of similar to the themes of this eclipse, but as it's a solar eclipse, we get new doorways opening as well. So it's a lot more gentle. It's a lot more, I think, something we can look forward to. Not that we didn't look forward to this eclipse, but it's definitely a gentler energy, and the worst of it is over, if I can say. Not that any of it's bad, but the intensity was really this eclipse that we just had. All right, so let's go into this week. We have more energy shifts on the way, the equinox, the start of Aries season, and the start of the astrological new year. So happy new year. On March 20th, the sun will move to 0 degrees of Aries, which is the start of the astrological new year, and also the start of Aries season. Aries is the first sign on the zodiac wheel, so that's why it's the astrological new year. We're all beginning a fresh trip around the sun, our collective fresh trip around the sun. So this is beautiful energy for setting intentions, for connecting with mind, body, soul. It is said that on the equinox, the energy grid of the planet moves into a higher frequency, into a beautiful harmony. So spending time in nature is how we can soak up this energy. A day before the equinox and then the day on the equinox, we get this beautiful surge of harmony. So really trying to spend time in nature on those days, setting intentions for what you would like to bring in and to manifest for the start of the new year. That's all great ways to celebrate the turning of the wheel and the starting of a new chapter. On the 22nd, so a couple of days after, we are having the Venus star point. So Venus is in retrograde. Mercury is also in retrograde too. So we have these two major planets in retrograde, and now we have the Venus star point. Venus star point is a very key point on the Venus retrograde cycle. It's a time of culmination and clarity. So it actually is a really important and also helpful point in the Venus retrograde cycle. It's when we get some clarity around what Venus has been stirring for us, what heart energy has been coming up, where we've been guided to heal when it comes to our heart, our relationships, our values. The things that Venus retrograde has been stirring for us tend to become clearer. So we may notice some aha moments, some deep heart healing. There may be some relationship issues coming up. Hopefully on that 22nd, or at least after it, you're starting to gain a little bit more clarity, a little bit more understanding of, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be going. You can think of the star point as Venus's rebirth moment. So if we think of her retrograde as she enters the underworld, she's cleansing, clearing, releasing, letting the past go. And then the star point is when she merges with the energy of the sun and we get this rebirth. She hasn't emerged from her retrograde yet, but the rebirth is taking place, and that rebirth is mirrored within us as well. That sort of new energy starting to be planted. It hasn't risen up just yet. Maybe it's hard to make sense of it just yet, but that rebirth has taken place. So that's something to reflect on as we get to the end of this week. So where does that leave us? Let's pull a card. I'm pulling from my deck, the Cosmic Astrology Oracle, which hopefully will be available soon. I'm going to shuffle. And let's just take a look and see, what card will guide us through the week. We've got this eclipse energy we're working with. We've got this equinox, the Venus star point. There's kind of a lot going on, isn't there? So let's see what card will be our guide. Nessus, Ancestral Healing. And if you have this deck at home, it's card 41. Let's take a look. This is very interesting that this card has come up. Okay, so Nessus is the asteroid of ancestral healing, and it is linked to, it actually has a very dark energy. When I was learning about it or researching and looking into it, it's got a pretty dark energy. It's linked to revenge, betrayal, mistrust, and guilt. It's a darker asteroid that can activate our shadow side, guiding us to travel to the uncomfortable in order to transcend what we find there. Well, maybe you've been doing a lot of that already. Nessus represents some of the ancestral wounds we come into this life with, especially the ones that we are destined to put an end to. Nessus helps us to weed through wounding that has been passed down through the generations, especially wounds that are connected to oppression or being taken advantage of. You have drawn this card for perhaps what is coming up for you right now feels deeper than just you. Perhaps what is coming up is linked to ancestral wounds that are part of your destiny to clear. I think this is really important because we are in a deep cycle of transformation and healing with the eclipse energies moving through this eclipse portal. And there might be stuff that's coming up for you right now that is not just about you. It might be linked to, like we were talking about, karma from past lives, family wounding, family karma, the collective karma, why we're here on the planet at this time and what we're moving through. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better, that it's not just you and your personal karma, that we're working through many, many layers. When it comes to Nessus, healing has to happen in its own divine timing. There is a limit to how much we can control. Being aware of this wounding is the first step, and after that, it's up to your soul journey to pave the way. So here, when we talk about ancestral healing, I'm not saying that there's nothing you can do, but when it comes to the healing energy of this particular asteroid, we are really invited to recognize it. There's nothing we can do about our past life. There's actually really nothing we can do about changing the past, right? Whatever's happened, it's out of our control. But recognizing where it's coming up, recognizing how it might be playing into the situation that you're working with, that can really be a lot of the healing. Being aware of the wounding is the first step, and after that, it's up to your soul journey to pave the way. This card can also be a sign that you are allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. Be mindful whom you trust. So that is an interesting card for our week, and I think it just kind of points to that we are in a period of deep healing and digging and just recognizing and being able to step out of that and be the observer, and to know that ultimately who we are on the inside is perfect and aligned and love and light, and all this other stuff is just other stuff. It's not really who we are. It's not our true identity. It's what we're working through and moving through, and needing to deal with, but it's not who we are, if that makes sense. So some additional meanings of this card, or just a way to kind of wrap our head around this card a little bit more. Observe repeated patterns in your family. Know you hold the power to clear generational wounds. Find ways to evoke a sense of trust and security in your life. Trust in divine timing when it comes to healing this situation. That's great advice for all this eclipse energy. Know this situation is bigger or deeper than just you. Release any guilt you are feeling, forgive yourself, and this situation is a blessing in disguise. Well, that's kind of a little bit what we touched on with this eclipse being a quantum leap on our soul level, even if it doesn't feel like it when we're moving through it. So a lot to digest in that. Take what you will, what resonates, and let's see where these energies take us as we move through the week. I'm Tanaaz from foreverconscious.com. Thank you so much.